Oh. What are you gonna do? Show me to the class.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they're looking forward to hearing from you.
Well, this
You just tell them anything you want to. Tell them how God's blessed you.
this is
This heater right here roars a little bit. Let me
yeah.
do that just a little so it won't.
That's fine. Let me get over there so you can see.
Oh, that's all right. You tell them anything you want to tell, and tell them about the war and how many times you have, they left you for dead, and how long you served, and what you did.
was my mind is not what it was. I remember such and such and such and such, and then it goes away. You know?
I understand.
And but God was with me.
Oh yeah, you told me that. I
Yeah.
thought it was wonderful. I thought that's
Yeah.
why we needed it.
This brother of mine had a brain tumor when I left home.
Uh-huh.
He was just a couple of years younger than I was. And he was listening to the radio. They bought him a radio so he could listen to it. He's sitting there in darkness. And he was gloriously saved. I mean, it's only just like it was my mother. And the last time I came home on a visit when this was fixing to send me overseas, he told me when I started to leave, he said, Walter, when you get back, I won't be here. Well, I could have expected that because I'd been called in once when I was just after I went to the Army. See him because they thought he was dying. And that's almost 2 years later now that I'm leaving to go overseas. And he just like preacher, he just preached it away. He said, Walter, I won't be here. I said, well, Martin, why? I knew the problem because the doctor told him that when that bursted, that he would die.
Mm-hmm.
And what to do about the operation and all that, he made a decision himself. He said, well, just let it go. We gave him medicine to keep him from hurting any more than he had to, you know. But the thing he told me, he just made a big prophecy. He said, I won't be here. And I carried him along, you know, so, you know, that Martin, I'm the one that's going off to war. He said, yeah, I know. God told me all about it. He said, when you get back, I won't be here. But he said, you're coming back. And God has appointed for you the most wonderful lady in the whole area. The whole area which covers the line.
I can see that he delivered.
Oh boy, did he. One did he. God never shortchanged you at all.
Mm-hmm.
He never does, and he never has.
Mm-hmm.
You just have to trust him. Have faith in him. But that lady felt everything that I can't do now for myself. She does it. You can show her a picture of it. I guess most of them know she's up.
Yeah.
She's from a little mountain area
Let me get around here.
back on the Rhonda.
Miss Frankie Wilson said she was one of the most wonderful people that she'd ever known.
This.
Oh, we really
Yes.
Oh,
She
we
sure
really
did.
thought a lot of her.
Mm-hmm. I used to, I'd go to the nursing home and sing for her. I even went to her room and sang for her. I sang Amazing Grace at her funeral service.
Did you?
I sure did. That was their family's request.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She was special.
Yeah.
But she said you were one of the most wonderful people she'd ever known. So I knew you did good.
So he, among other things, there they told me, and we met the morning after I got in late, early in the evening. The next morning, Dad went to sell a load of tobacco over in Mount Airy. He asked me if I wanted to go with him. Sure. I go over and I was wanting out those old scratchy woolen clothes, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I bought me a suit over there in Mount Airy.
Uh-huh.
And then we got back home. He lived over here just before you cross the creek going up into Mountain Park. That's where Dad was living at the time. And when I came home. And he said, well, Walter, do you want to go with me to town? I love Dad and we'll go with him, you know, and we'd been separated. That was the most solemn man. I hardly spoke all the time. They took me from on top of the mountain over here where we lived at the time to Wilkesboro to give me over to the Army. He hardly spoke. He was just suffering so much that you could never tell it. But he just didn't have anything to say. And to find Dad in that was that stuff. Oh boy. But I was an aircraft armorer. You want to know a little about the war?
Mm-hmm.
An aircraft armorer that covers a lot of ground. That we had 50 caliber machine guns, 85 pounds apiece. Here I am, 135 40 pounder, lifting those things up in the airplane and fastening them up in there, taking them down, cleaning them. Ever so often, you get the gum and all that out of it. #1 gasoline that you use to fly with. I forgot now what the classification was called. And we were a protecting arm for the Burma Road to be built so that the things could be all the way into China. And we moved it when it became convenient from one field over to 10 cocks of cans about halfway over. And right over against China was a town called the name of the town, I can't think of it right now, but there's many 1,000 times I said it. But it's just 4 or 5 miles from this side of China.
Uh-huh.
And we followed them building that Burma Road all the way across there in northern Burma and into Myitkyina. And we were the air arm there that protected them, plus carrying out missions against the Japanese and down further to the south. But we were up in the northern part and flying down there at town. And bombing and strafing and killing people, and you can imagine. And the biggest day of my life, I think, the most horrible day of my life, was D-Day they were having back in Europe. And I was over there way over in Asia. But we had shortwave radio, and I got the details of what they were saying about the battle and how it was going and how we were losing men and all that. Ooh, just make you sick.